Here.
Mr. Marr. Mrs. Barra.
Here.
Ms. Fletcher Mickens.
Here.
Mr. Hebert. Here. Mr. Washington. Mrs. Hood.
Here.
Ms. Orso.
Here.
Mrs. Dugas. Here. Madam President, you have a quorum.
All right, let me find my prayer. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the students, staff, and faculties of Assumption Parish Schools. Lord, continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I apologize, Ms. Hood. You were supposed to announce you, but I kind of didn't know about this till I got here. Next on the agenda, we'll have, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Urso, second by Mr. Hebert. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next is approve the consent agenda, approve the minutes of July 24th. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I got it. Approve minutes of July 24th, public hearing. Approve minutes of July 24th, school board meeting. I need a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Moved by Ms. Dugas, second by Mr. Washington. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, under reports and recognition, receive administrative personnel report. That's in your folders to read when you have time. And B would be recognize and honor Anna Hebert, FFA member and current chapter reporter, for winning the state title for prepared public speaking. Is Anna here?
Ms. City, you want to give some background information? Are they good? Okay.
Good evening. My name is Sydney Phelps, 2024-2025 Assumption High FFA President. I wanted to thank you, the board, and our school board administration for the support of our program throughout the years. Your support of our program has led to the many accomplishments of our high school chapter has accomplished over the years. We are looking forward to another great school year thanks to your help. At this time, I also want to introduce our chapter treasurer and state champion prepared public speaker, Anna Hebert. At this time, Anna will be presenting her state-winning speech that she will also be giving at the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis for the National Championship in October. Congratulations, Anna. At this time, Anna's going to do her speech. It's about 7 minutes long, and I would encourage you, the board, to, if you have any questions you'd like to ask her about the speech, please do, because it helps her to develop and get ready for nationals.
Perfect.
Super, a modern prefix meaning of the highest degree or power. You may know it as a word that describes someone or something truly extraordinary, like the superhero Superman and the superpowers that he possesses. His powers vary from flying to effortlessly lifting buildings to taking bullets with no repercussions. However, for every hero, there is always a weakness or enemy that slows them down. Superman, for instance, is weakest when exposed to kryptonite, a substance capable of making even the most infallible man fall to his knees. But what if I told you that there was something that has rendered their version of kryptonite useless in our world? They have powers almost indestructible to our defenses. Their abilities are used to starve, maim, and harm other vital organisms. They have even broken through multiple biological and technological eliminating their destruction. So what could I possibly be referring to? Super pests, the supervillains of agriculture. The first question we should address is, what is a super pest? The University of Florida's Horticultural Division describes them as a pest that has become resistant to chemical treatments through either natural selection, genetics, or an adaptive behavioral trait. These organisms have existed for over a century, with the first known record of this phenomenon being recorded in 1914 by A.L. Melander. Melander described how scale insects had survived following a chemical treatment. This early resistance came from an overuse of the chemical sulfur lime, which was often misused because historically, due to a lack of knowledge surrounding pesticide resistance, farmers believed the more chemicals you used and the more frequently you used them, the more pests they would kill. Many years later, though, our experiences have revealed that this practice has the opposite effect, and in some cases has created super pests that are stronger and more resistant to management tools than their predecessors. For example, the Colorado potato beetle is one of the most persistent agricultural pests, mainly targeting horticultural crops like potatoes and leafy greens. Due to an increased exposure to insecticides, their genes have evolved, and resistance and tolerance to many insecticidal chemistries has been documented. This diversification of their genetic makeup comes from parent populations that survived due to natural selection, passing down the resistance genes to subsequent generations in order to ensure survival. This now begs the question, how does the Colorado potato beetle, as well as other super pests, use their defensive genes? Genetic changes can lead to many forms of pesticide resistance, one of which being where organisms start to develop certain types and quantities of enzymes in the body in order to break down the chemicals in treatments. This is called metabolic resistance. Other pests, specifically insects, can thicken the cuticle layer of the exoskeleton that surrounds their skin, slowing the rate in which toxic pesticides are absorbed through penetrative resistance. This gives the organism more time to break down and flush out the toxins, giving them more time to develop a resistance. These organisms change their genetic makeup in order to bypass human interference, increasing their ability to overtake crop populations, and are thus extremely impactful to the farming industry. In Europe, there is a research project focused on finding alternative methods to pest control, and it's called SuperPest. Fitting, right? Their main mission is to develop safe and efficient processes, tools, and approaches to utilizing integrated pest management, or IPM, which is the practice of managing pests without a heavy reliance on pesticides. Examples of these cultural practices include controlling weeds, planting naturally pest-resistant crops, and attracting beneficial insects that can help control these invaders. The Old Farmer's Almanac has given a list of such insects, like spiders, lacewings, and parasitic flies. They also suggest attracting crucial crop pollinators that can help promote plant growth, like hoverflies. Other organizations have given ideas on how to fight back as well. For example, the Insecticide Resistance Action Committee warns farmers not to continually use pesticides that kill pests with the same mode of action, which is how the chemicals attack the organisms. Additionally, the United States Environmental Protection Agency produced solutions like rotating crops and closely monitoring pests to determine when to administer pesticides. Some independent researchers suggest that if we were to impose a specific stretch of time for a certain crop to be grown, we could create an off-season for the pests affecting it. This could reduce chemical selection stress, which is one of the factors that encourages resistance. The University of California recommends trying to avoid and minimize synthetic pesticide use altogether. They also want farmers to avoid mixing pesticides or using chemicals that leave a residue, stating that both methods increase the selection rate for pests to develop favorable defense genes. Considering the growing prevalence of these superorganisms, it is imperative that we consider using some of the aforementioned preventative measures and educate our producers about integrated pest management in order to maintain the integrity of currently available pesticides. With reliable pesticides on the decline, pests are causing severe damage, causing a loss of about 40% of global crop production. This loss then translates to an economic decline, with plant diseases taking $220 billion in costs and invasive insects taking an additional $70 billion, according to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization. However, not all pests are bad, even if they are super. Beetles, for instance, have an increased chance of developing a resistance to pesticides due to their already resilient characteristics. These characteristics also make them great natural predators for invasive plants. Over the last 29 years, the Galarosella beetle has been used to target the invasive purple loosestrife plant, which has been choking out the natural inhabitants of the Wisconsin wetlands for centuries. Because of these efforts, the plant's populations has diminished substantially across the Midwest. So before you grab that can of Raid, take a moment to think. What effects could a pest have on your life? And is it better to control or eradicate it? Is eradication even possible? And would that help serve a larger, more beneficial goal? And lastly, are there any alternative methods that could lead to the same peace of mind as using pesticides? If farmers or even simple homeowners have these thoughts, we could prevent more super pests from emerging and become the superheroes the agricultural world needs. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
And like I said, if any of you have any questions, I would really love the experience and practice answering some.
You answered them all, Ben. You did good.
I don't have any questions, but I would like to say I appreciate your eye contact throughout this whole process. Your variations in your voice, showing emphasis on the things that you want to highlight in your speech. I think it was clear, very articulate. I think the catch, I think you really you grabbed our attention. And then finally, I think your transitions were good as well, as you transition from one segment of your speech to the next.
As Dr. B said, good eye contact really helps you out in public speaking. And I'm listening at you talk this style, I'm sure you did quite a few impromptu speeches and stuff like that, correct? And that's going to help you out a lot in moving from the state of staying in one place, moving from side to side, also help you captivate you. All these people I hate to tell you, because they've done it in the classroom and stuff like that. So I think you're going to do well, and congratulations again.
Well, you captivated my attention because I know you and I've seen you, and you just shine. You were just so different tonight. I really, really enjoyed it. It was really great. So good luck.
That's right. You knew what you were talking about.
The research.
Yeah. Your diction was perfect. Yeah. 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 Yeah, your diction was great, and you used the negative space in your language great. You paused just the right amount of time for us to ask what you were going to say next, and then you gave us a good point next and kept moving. So the diction in between your delivery and the negative space was very good. Yeah.
Thank you for investing in your art.
Yeah.
It's truly an art. Thank you for investing in it. Thank you for representing the Assumption Parish School System like you are.
I really think that you have become the superhero for all the bugs that everybody smushes that shouldn't be smushed. You did great. Amazing job.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Mom and
Yeah,
to the FFA
congratulations.
teachers. Y'all doing a great job.
Awesome.
And I'll give a little bit of background. So Anna started this speech her 10th grade year, so she is a 10th grader, and she actually will be competing against students that could potentially be in college already.
Oh, wow.
So she's definitely done a fantastic job, but we start on a district level, and so she competed in our district contest where she placed first. Then she moved on to our area contest, so she competed in a little larger area where we eliminate some students, but they move on, and she won our area contest, and then was able to compete on the state level where she competed against the top 16 students across Louisiana, and she won that competition. She also turned around and used the speech to compete in 4-H University, and gave an agricultural speech there in June, and she won the state contest for 4-HU with her speech there.
Wow.
And so she moves on to national convention, which again is in Indianapolis at the end of October, and she will be able to compete for a national championship there. She
Awesome.
was a sophomore when she started. She'll be a junior competing, but I think she's done a phenomenal job. She wrote the speech herself. She did the research, so
Awesome.
this was all her.
Awesome.
I have used Dr. Viator and had it analyzed, and like not many people came back with a whole lot of like, you need to change this, you need to make this more accurate. She's done a fantastic job on the speech and
Awesome.
building up and doing what she's done. So I appreciate y'all listening to her and giving her some more feedback. Thank you.
That was great. Yeah.
Next, under policy and procedure, receive information on the 2024-2025 pupil progression plan.
Ms. Lisa, just ask if y'all had any questions on anything? Not yet? Y'all just getting it? Okay, I was prepared,
Yeah.
ready to go. Okay.
You got it.
Next meeting.
All right, approve, next, B, approve Assumption Parish electronic telecommunication device policy.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Lewis,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Abear. Any discussion?
It is the law.
Yeah, it's, being a former high school principal, I know the challenges that our schools are going to be faced with, but I don't want to present anything to the board that's not in accordance to the law. So we're going to do our best. We're going to work with our kids, but also we're going to follow the law. So this is, and we worded the policy with the language from the statute, from the act.
So as board members, I think in order to, help this policy along to get it out in the community, I think what I did this morning and all week, I informed my daughter of, because she had 2 daughters in school up in the Belrose area, and I told her about the policy. I even showed her the Act 313, and I said it has to be followed to the letter of the law. The reason why this policy was put in place because of the distractions in the classroom, and the teachers cannot teach and have the cell phones going off in the classroom. So I started with my family, and I suggest that my peers up here, my board members, do the same thing too. You have people in your community that you could talk to, friends and relatives, and just tell them, this is not Assumption, this is state of Louisiana. So if that give them any comfort, but I doubt it, because I was looking out on my daughter sent me something from Donaldsonville DHS, and they're blowing it up right now. So you can't come to Assumption, they can't go to St. James or St. John, because you know what, the policies are the same.
Yeah, I'll echo Ms. Honoré too. We've taken calls from parents for sure, and from teachers and things, and really as a board we have to approve it because it's the state law. And I called Mr. Mike to ask his advice because we've gotten some questions, and that was my main message. It was passed as a law. We have to pass it as is as a law, and we're going to support our staff and administration to get this put in place and whatever that may mean this year to get it in place. Yeah.
All in favor? Any opposed? Next, under budget, approve the selection of the external auditing firm. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second. Discussion.
I have a question, actually. Is this in the scope to go out for? I don't think, do we have to approve this, or we just put it in front of us for transparency purposes? Or?
No, it's
Okay.
because the contract may go above $20,000.
Okay, gotcha.
So I wanted to make sure it's in front of the board.
Okay,
because of the contract itself.
okay, gotcha.
Not necessarily the service, but the contract.
Okay.
What is it, it's a 2-year
Two-year.
contract, 3-year contract, a 3-year contract. Which was the same, we had previously, the same language.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, authorize the superintendent to add 2 additional teacher positions to the budget.
A second.
Moved by Ms. Orso, second by Ms. Hood. Any discussion?
Yeah, where are these teachers?
Well, currently, right now, we have to add a position in Pierre Park. We had to add a position in Bayou Lewis as well. But we are close in some other schools that we may have to add positions in those locations. So it's a good problem to have because that means that we have more kids coming into the school system.
What about Napoleonville? They all right?
Currently, right now, we are okay, but we're right at that threshold, which is our student-to-teacher ratio. So that one of these, we had additional positions in the budget, but I was afraid that we may go over, so I had to come back to the board because obviously you all give us the authorization to hire certain positions. So currently, right now, we're okay. For right now. Yes, sir. Currently, right now, we made the adjustments prior to, but we do have, we're very close, but we're not there.
What
To
about,
add positions.
what about Lavender, Belrose? Did we have to lose positions?
The answer is yes. We transferred one position because of the school choice. We transferred a position from Labadierville Middle to Napoleonville Middle.
Okay.
So the answer is
So
yes.
that's how that helped.
Yes, ma'am. We didn't lose a teacher, we just transferred them to the,
Transfer.
yes, ma'am.
What about Belrose?
No, ma'am. We did not lose,
Kept the same?
yeah, according to our procedures that we do for staffing, yes.
Okay.
But we didn't lose a teacher as a result of school choice.
You just transferred?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We have to go in and amend the budget for these 2 positions, or you have it already covered? You know?
Daryl's going to add it to the budget because we've already moved forward with our current budget. We'll just add it in, and then when Daryl comes back for a revision, those 2 positions will be added in there.
Okay.
Dr. B, when we come back in 2 weeks, can we get a first day head count for each school?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, adopt a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in School District Number 1 of the Parish of Assumption, Louisiana, to authorize the renewal of special taxes therein, making application to the State Bond Commission, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Washington, second by Mr. Lewis. Dr. B, you want to elaborate?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. CFO, could you come on up, please? I just want to make sure we're clear on these millages and why it's extremely important, and what those millages are actually supporting the school district for. Currently, right now, 76% of our operating budget supports our teachers in salaries and benefits. So I just want to be clear that these millages are a part of that. And they're general fund millages. So our general fund expenditures, 76% of it goes to not only employees, current active employees, but also support our retirees' insurance. So currently, right now, we pay 75% of everybody's insurance. So the millages also cover some of those expenses. So it's extremely important to get this information out. Mr. Darrow, if you want to kind of add to that,
Yes.
some numbers.
So, first thing I'd like to start off with is our financial statements, both for last year and this year, are available. They are on our website. This is now part of Louisiana Revised Statute where we post that information, and it remains there. And we'll build up years of that data for everyone to see. So we want to be very transparent with that. One other thing that I would like to start with the millage renewal process is we consult with bond attorneys, Foley and Udell, out of New Orleans. Both Miss Melissa and I attend the legislative auditors workshops on millages every year. It's somewhat of a meticulous and complicated process that we have to keep track of. So the millage process, these are renewals. Every 10 years they come up for renewal. We have 4 millages from the school board. 1 is constitutional and 3 are voter approved. 1 is expiring at the end of this year, 1 in 2027 and 1 in 2028. Our bond counsel advises us to bring them all up together at one time on a ballot for 2 reasons. We have time to renew if they do not pass, but also the state picks up half of the cost during that time. All of these millages are either for what is considered maintenance of school property or support. Each one has a designation, and they have a mill where they can be raised, or if you do not renew, they fall back to that amount. The process that you just went through about a month ago that you completed was we just went through a reassessment year. Every 4 years, the assessor does that, and property values had increased. I sent you all a separate packet by email trying to explain exactly what each mill was going to raise taxes on, because they are taxes. And from there, you all approved it as part of the process. The millage process for renewal is somewhat the same, but a little bit different. It starts early, about halfway through the year. We started in July when Dr. Bartholomew brought this forward, his intent for you all to seek renewal on the election. And then we follow a process that the bond attorney guides us through. There's a resolution. Mr. Meyer, about 2 weeks ago, read aloud a proclamation. Tonight, you are doing another resolution, adopting it. And then for transparency's sake, according to the law, this message will be posted in the Journal for 4 consecutive weeks. After that, the bond attorney takes it forward to the State Commissioner of Elections. Some of the questions that Dr. B had that we had looked at earlier, as he had stated, our expenditure budget that you all approved for the beginning of the year was almost $40 million. $30 million of that is salaries and benefits for active employees. That is 76% of the entire budget. It's not uncommon to have that somewhere between 75 and upwards of 90%. It could be, and possibly we could argue, or I would argue, that it could and should be even more than that. Why? Competition. We are being outpaced in salaries and benefits packages by our surrounding neighbors. The full-time salaries budget is $18,000 for 2025. The employee and retirement contributions are $3.1 million for active employees, just the retirement portion that we pay that goes to the state, such as teachers' retirement, ELSERS, and maybe 1 or 2 of the small retirement systems that other employees belong to. Membership in that for a school employee is not optional. So we must incur that cost. That makes up 8% of the total amount. Health insurance premiums for active employees, very expensive. That amount is $4.4 million. That makes up 11% of the total budget. health insurance premiums for retirees and their surviving spouses. $3,561,000. That's 9% of the total budget. People serve their time. Our policy states that if they work for us for 20 years, they are then vested. When they do retire, we pay 75% of that retiree or their surviving spouse's premium. Also expensive.
Ooh.
Also expensive, but that's part of us doing business and giving out an attractive package.
Somebody killing.
So I also took a look at our budgeted revenues for this year. We have a budget that matches, it's almost $40 million. The millages, the local resource portion of that I budgeted is $11 million. That's 28% of the total budget. We can only guess or debate of what we would do, what would happen if that part of our funding were to go away. There are other parts of that make up our total collections of 18 million. Our sales tax is 6.8 million, and consistently it looks like it's slowly on the rise throughout the years. And then the rest comes from state and other state revenues, the MFP and total local other sources, which are $20 million. The MFP portion and other state portions of that make up 50% of our total revenue. So state and MFP, then next is our local millages, and then sales tax. So that is how we as a district are structured. We probably are similar to others. Others are very different than us in that their MFP makeup of their revenue is very low, and they have fantastic sales tax and other parts of their millage where their income is not reliant on just state MFP. So that's the position we're in right now. It just so happens that we felt one of our renewals came during a reassessment year. So this year we have one millage that's expiring at the end of the year. In 2026, we have another one that expires, and then in 2027. What if all of these fail? I don't know. Have they failed before, and what would happen then? We've uncharted waters.
Based on your professional opinion, if this does not pass and it fails, would it be harmful to our employees as it relates to benefits and salaries?
Yes, it would, and we would all be looking at each other on what do we do. And so as a CFO, that when I undergo an audit and anyone from a governmental agency or the auditor will ask, the first question is, what is your first line of defense? How do you build your budgeting system? Talk to us about how your goals and your needs are met. Well, the first answer is always staffing. Staffing is the gold standard to budgeting. You start with salaries and benefits first. That's the most expensive component. And from there you move forward to what are your other goals, give and take, and what to do with that. So that's where we are right now, part of an awareness stage. And this is all part of something that is very meticulous with the state. I want to stress that in that we are on a schedule. We're following that timeline. Both Ms. Melissa and I are under the advice, along with the superintendent of our bond attorneys. We follow this schedule. Everything is above board. If there are any questions that anybody has, they can come back to us. We've been in contact with the assessor's office. I've learned more about millages this year than I have in my career. So that's where we're at right now. If you have any questions now or later, I'm available for email, phone call, appointment, what have you.
Thank you, Mr. Darrow. And I just want to point out, currently right now, we are in the middle of a salary schedule study. And these funds will support that. You know, we're looking at a pay raise, trying to look at a pay raise for our employees, as well as a 13th check for our employees. So it's extremely important that we have these funds, as well as whatever funds we have available to support that initiative. And I think we all agree that we need to give our employees a pay raise, and I think we all agree that a 13th check would be extremely appreciative.
Indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Darrow.
Thank you, Darrell.
I'd just like to comment too, I added it up, this is nearly $8 million. That's quite a sum to lose, so we definitely need it.
Also, I'll speak to this. As part of our audits and the building fund balance that I've seen over the last several years, I'm really able to put a finger on some of that this past year. We have vacancies that we are not filling. So we're building a fund balance, and having said that, for the reason or the result of it and the why, it's not necessarily a good thing. These are dollars that we should be spending to get the best of the best, and we're not moving with that. So we're not exactly headed in a downward spiral of the wrong direction, but we're not exactly going in the right direction either. So I'm here. If y'all have any questions, I can come back. I can do any kind of study that Dr. B or you all would like to see. So we can move forward from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a comment about Mr. Darrell too. He is the most above board, matter of fact, information person. He'll tell you exactly what it is and what it means. And if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And it's bad because it's bad, not because of the info. You want the right answer, go to see Mr. Darrell.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Next, adopt a resolution to approve the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for Audit Engagement. I need a motion.
1 second.
Moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, receive information on 2024-25 Child Nutrition Program meal prices.
Mr. Justin, if you want to come up, you can explain. We do have a slight increase. The good news is every student in our parish does eat lunch for free, but we do have to report the increase, obviously, based on the increase of prices for food and things like that. So we have to incur those expenses, and obviously we have to set a budget as far as our meal costs. So, Mr. Justin, I don't know if you want to add to that.
That's right. Our average meal cost this year came in at like $5.07. So we are having an increase from $5.07 to $5.10. The meal prices haven't been up in almost a few years, so it's time we need to increase our prices.
But currently, right now, all of our students.
Yes, our students are eating free under CEP for 24-25, and since the USDA has changed their percentage rate down to 25%, we should be CEP for quite some time, I would imagine. So, yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Facilities and Grounds approved certificate of substantial completion for the project known as Assumption High School Gymnasium Seating Upgrade. I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Orso. Second by Ms. Dugas. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, accept the lowest responsible and responsive bid for the AHS Building A Exterior Wall Rehabilitation Project. I need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hebert, second by Ms. Dugas. Joseph?
Good evening. Yes, we received bids on July 30th. The budget set for this project, after we made the several renovations and so forth, was right at 1.5 million. The lowest bid received was from Jones Construction Solutions in the amount of $1,552,791, with an alternate add of $45,420. That brought the total bid to $1,598,211. Providing your budget would allow for this increase, we are recommending acceptance of this low bid.
Any other discussion?
How many bids we have?
We actually had about 5 that showed interest. We had 2 that ended up doing a final submittal. But this was a long vetted process. We actually had a mandatory pre-bid conference where we had 7 contractors come in. So even though we only received 2, you also know that this is also the 3rd time that this project has gone out. So we've had a lot of interest in it. We vetted, we feel that these are good, solid bids.
Okay.
So Joseph, all the bidding is done on Central Bidding,
Yes, sir.
so everybody can see who
Yeah,
wants
it goes nationwide.
Okay.
We have not, in my tenure with him, I have not. We did do some vetting. They have done similar work in neighboring parishes for other school systems, and those school systems have been pleased. I can tell you. exactly.
Santa Mall?
Yes,
Santa
Santa
Mall.
Mall. This is the company that did the gym seats. So, I mean, Marco, they're here right now. Just if anyone had any questions about the substantial completion, but we've used the company before, and I think we all pleased. If anyone went to the gym lately, it's a beautiful, beautiful outcome. So that's the same company that won this bid.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed?
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
How long, Joseph? What's that?
Well, now that we have an award, we will go ahead and draft the contracts. The next step will be to forward those contracts to the contractor so that he can attach his performance and payment bonds. Typically, that takes somewhere around a week. Once I get those back, I will then forward them to you and your legal for final review. And then we do signatures, and we'll set up a pre-construction conference and move forward.
How long are we giving them to complete this project? 180 days?
180 days, yes,
So
sir.
this project should be complete before the end of the next this school year?
Correct.
Should be.
Correct, yes, sir. We're doing, this project includes the front entrance to the school, the canopy, and everything with the 2-story building A. Coordinated with this project, we had a meeting yesterday with the school personnel, Ms. Brandy and Dwayne as well, to coordinate the painting project. And our goal is, we made some adjustments there so that everything looks how we're projecting it to look, and how we projected it to you all. But our goal is to bring it back to you at the next meeting to request permission to advertise that portion, in which we're going to be painting just about every single building on campus. And if the building's not getting painted, we're actually changing the wall panels out completely. So it will be a complete new look. We have 3D renderings that we provided so that you can see what your campus will look like when we're done. But to answer your question, this is part of it, but it is not the full painting package. Full painting package should come to you at the next. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that was a key thing. And we had a very good meeting yesterday, and we went building by building and said exactly what we were doing to each building. And if for any reason the building could not be painted, it's because we're physically changing the wall panels. So it's getting a new coating system, but it's getting new walls. Sure.
So there are some buildings that won't be painted because they're existing brick buildings that's not being painted. I just want you to understand that as well.
I'm sorry.
Come on up, Dwayne.
Why can't these bricks be painted?
They can be painted, but they do, so once you paint brick, brick needs to breathe. So Joseph and I spoke about that. So once you paint these bricks, you develop problems later on inside. I have these problems at other schools or older buildings that's been painted. So we're trying not to paint like the front breezeway that's never been painted, the front of the cafeteria that hasn't been painted. It's colored bricks for a reason. So the way the buildings are, we chose not to paint them because it's going to be a future maintenance issue. If as a board you want to suggest to paint all the buildings, that's fine. I wouldn't recommend doing it. I don't think Joseph would recommend, but I'm not gonna speak for Joseph, but we had a conversation about this. And it's just gonna be a maintenance nightmare down the road. I mean, the building is bricked and it's colored brick for a reason. It's so you don't have to paint it and it's not a maintenance issue. I understand, but
If you use the right product, you tell me that still won't work.
it's not exactly the product. You can make the paint adhere to the building. It's the way the building's designed also. So your house has a space in between the bricking where it has to breathe. Our buildings are not all built that way.
Joseph, you want to say?
Yeah. When, in answer to your question, all buildings are getting painted. If, for instance, the breezeways that he's speaking of, those breezeways were built each, one within the last 10 years and the other within the last 20 years. The bricks there are solid colored white through and through. And basically with the proper cleaning and pressure washing, we can make those buildings look new and white and fresh again. And that was the color renditions that we showed you all in the 3D model. Now, that doesn't mean we're not painting. We're painting all the doors to trim, but everything's getting a fresh new look. If there is brick on the campus, and if you walk the campus right now, there are several buildings, including the high school gym and the backside of the cafeteria, that have painted brick. It's an existing, older painted brick. We are pressure washing, cleaning, and repainting that brick. The only brick we're not proposing to paint at this time is the brick that is the newer type brick that is a solid color through and through. And what Wayne is speaking to is that if I go put a coating of any kind on that brick, it seals the outside of that brick and it traps moisture inside the building and causes him problems because that building can't breathe after that. So that is what he's referring to when we say, hey, we're not painting the breezeway brick. And look, we've explored other products as well. If we come across one of the options we have in there is the girls' gym. Girls' gym has that very, very same type of brick that we're speaking of, but there's multiple different colors. So we're trying to make that a uniform. So we're giving an option there to paint that brick to stay in that color option, but we want to be very careful that we use the correct product and allow that building to breathe. And so that we don't want to create a maintenance nightmare down the road. I don't want to go in and paint a building and this year it looks great and next year you got mildew problems because I've trapped all the moisture in the building. So that's what Wayne is referring to. And so we're using very much caution with that. We have put out 3D models and 3D renderings. I can send packages to you that actually show you in real time what the color scheme of the paint's going to look like with those sections of brick that are going to be painted and the sections that are. It all ties together. This project that we approved tonight and the painting project is all in one congruent job throughout.
So pressure washing would do the,
With pressure washing, soft washing, chemical washing, all day.
we've done it before, the pressure washing.
I don't recall the last time you all did the pressure washing on the buildings, but we have done, that has been done to the school system before. And that is something we are doing to all buildings regardless.
It's not just pressure washing, you're doing
Yeah.
like a soft wash and clean.
Soft
Yeah.
washing and actual scrubbing and cleaning.
Yeah.
We're even going so far as to, with this project, we're gonna be soft washing the roof. If you look across, you see the two-story building, the roof is actually in excellent condition. It doesn't need any work. However, it's got some dirt and grime on it. We wanna clean it up, we wanna shine it up, we wanna keep it.
Should we put it on a schedule? Should we put it on a schedule?
It's included in this project.
On this project, I'm
Yes.
saying about the
You mean
future.
for a washing schedule?
Yes.
All the schools have been washed. The only reason I didn't wash the high school yet, so I've just recently watched 3 schools. I've been doing 3 schools each year because of the cost, because it just costs
Okay.
$26,000 to wash 3 schools. The high school would have to be done alone when it's done. We didn't wash it knowing this project was coming up. So it will be on a rotation.
Schedule, okay,
So there's gonna be 3 schools every year. The 4th year will be the high school.
okay.
Yeah.
But once this project and the painting project is complete, all of your buildings will be washed and new and ready to be put on that schedule.
Yeah. And to Dwayne's point too, preventative maintenance schedules are going to need to be a thing for us so we don't run into this problem again. Good preventative maintenance schedules.
We're excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. I do.
What we'll do at the next meeting, I asked Joseph if we next meeting before you approve it, and just show you all what it's gonna look like. The colors won't be true and exact on the, renderings, because colors look different in person than they do on the screen. So, but just to give you all an idea what it's gonna look like, and it's going to be the school colors. And I've seen some of the colors he had in the renderings he has, and the yellows and the browns in the school now, they don't look bad with the grays and the reds and everything else. So I'm just trying to prevent future issues, is all we're trying to do. I understand your point, everything looks the same, but I think they'll all come together.
It's in that color family.
And that's right.
And what we did is we brought in an architectural company, and they helped us select those colors and try to tie some of those, you know, because the bricks, the white bricks are not a true white brick. It's an all-fire bone color. So we tried to marry the right red, and so those architects were very good in doing that. These renderings, like I tell anybody else, you know, I can show you a picture of a red, and you bring it up or print it on your screen, and it looks totally different. To I guess, make a seamless transition there as part of the specification, we're requiring that the contractor actually provide us with 4x8 storyboard sheets with the actual paint and actual colors painted and going on those storyboard sheets before final approval, so that we can physically see what this paint is going to look like on that building and not just going by a photo.
I have one more question. Yeah.
You always have
Yeah.
options to come up on the phone. Anytime y'all wanna come. No, I understand, but we're coming to the board, we'll come in, right, we'll let y'all know when we start the project, we'll go in, as we start painting and cleaning, we can do a walk, I think that's a great idea.
I have one more question, and two more people just texted me. The main question that we've gotten from people is it going to be Fighting Mustangs up there, or is it going to be Mighty Mustangs from the renderings? That's one of the biggest questions. Are like, we're not the Fighting Mustangs, Assumption Mustangs, or Mighty Mustangs. Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah, I think one of the renderings had fighting, and people were going crazy about that. So. Okay.
We actually changed the logo in different places.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, I've been getting the same phone calls.
Yep. I just want to make sure.
Okay, we need a vote, I think. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that's all of our,
Quick comment, I just want to say welcome back, all of our students and our teachers. We did walk several campuses today, the board as well as my team, and just saw a lot of smiling faces, you know, and we truly excited. I know we are truly excited for the upcoming school year, and you could just see it in the student faces as well. So just want to wish everyone a great school year, and want to welcome everybody back.
thank you.
Very clean, fresh paint. The principals really went out this summer and really did a great job. It really looked nice. It really looked.
I'd like to mention and congratulate our Assumption Parish Arts Foundation for putting on such a wonderful festival. Congratulations to them, to Josh, who had this dream and made it come to life, and also to our community for such a wonderful turnout. Personally, I couldn't go. I was at home with some other issues, but I think it was, you know, I watched some of it on Facebook, and I think it was just awesome the way the community came together.
Yeah, we had, we're still very tired from the weekend. Some of y'all in here came, so it was we were very happy with the day. We have a tentative number that we've raised, so we had between 4,000 and 4,750 people come through the doors the whole day. We had over 45 sponsors. We had 60 vendors and food trucks and people come and help us out. All of the musicians donated their time this year. We also had a stage with a lot of our student musicians performing throughout the day. It was 12 hours of just constant happiness. Everybody, we had a few issues, but nobody knew about them, except for one band tripping the breaker on the stage because they were rocking too hard. But right now, save from any other expenses that we forgot about, we've raised over $32,000 in net for the event. Yeah, and that, and it's only going to get bigger, and that money stays right in our community. That money is going to go to our students and to more community programming. So the high school is going to get a renovation of their band room out of this. The middle schools are going to get a renovation with the help of Mr. Dwayne and his guidance of how we're going to do that, a renovation of the band room at the high school and upgrades to the middle school facilities, purchasing equipment and music and instruments and professional musicians to come and help our educators with clinics, and paying tuition for the kids to go to honor groups and to go to clinics around the state and around the region. There's really endless possibilities on what we've started, and we've already booked next year. So next year it'll be August 2nd, and it'll be the first weekend in August every year. So mark your calendars. We'll see you next year. Yes. It's pumped up. Yeah. Yeah, and Casey, the new band, yeah, the new band director, Mr. Casey, he has ties to the community. He's a Bateman, so we all know the Batemans from Bateman's Ice. And then we also have a new band director at the middle school for Napoleonville and Labadeville, Mr. Nadal, and he started. My oldest is going to start with him in band this week too. So, and we'll be there tomorrow. So we're good. Yeah, thank y'all. If y'all came, thank y'all so much. Dr. Crochet was there in the morning. The marching band performed in the morning, in the beginning. Madeline Gregoire sang the Star Spangled Banner, and she also performed for an hour on the little stage after doing some theater tunes and solo tunes. But Dr. Crochet pumped everybody up in the morning for sure, and he had his T-shirt cannon and blue T-shirts out into the crowd. So we appreciate all of the support and everybody that was there. Yep, it was a great day. Great.
I have a question. On another note, Dr. B, what about, do we have the football and volleyball teams for Belrose and Labrador? Or we still don't have a volleyball team or football team for those two schools?
Belrose School, we just notified the parents that we gave them the option to play in Napoleonville, so we do not have a football team in Belrose. Labradorville, I did not get any information that we did not. So we should have football teams in Labradorville, Napoleonville, and Pierre Park. Volleyball, we should not have an issue with volleyball, but we're not in, I haven't received any information on volleyball yet.
Because my thing is, academically, they could go to Napoleonville, but would it be lawful for us if it's an option if those kids at Napoleonville from Labradorville and Belrose want to go for athletic purposes to go back to their home school? Would that be all right? Like they have the two buses, bring them to the schools for after sport practice. If they really want, if their choice, if they don't want to stay for Napoleonville to play football, volleyball, they go out to their home school. Would that be possible?
That wasn't something that we discussed with the principals. I think all things possible. That would be something I would have to look into to make sure that we can even possibly do that. But as of right now, we do not have that in play. So that's something that we have to look into. I would have to definitely get back to you.
Sometimes that's where the kids' hearts are.
Yeah.
Like you started out. So it could be an option. So we could have a team.
I
You gotta look into it,
I just have to
right?
look into it because that wasn't something that was discussed. We had decided that we were going to allow them to go into the parents if they would like for their kids to participate at the other school where they actually have a team. So.
You know, we brought so many more students to Napoleonville, and you may have kids that, Napoleonville may have too many kids on the team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That won't even play that thing. So I don't know how that's gonna go.
So
I don't know if they'll look at it.
Don't have an A and B team now?
But you've always had, some of your schools, you've always had that. That's not as a result of this. Yeah.
Right. So looking for it, so.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That was my thought. If you may have too many kids, that's not
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lewis, second by Ms. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I miss you. I want